I tell you what, this is really a great day for the City of Hammond. In case you all don't know, I'm Mayson Foster, Mayor of the great City of Hammond. I think we have some programs that some people are passing out for you. And I want to say that this beautiful day in the City of Hammond creates a new day in the life of Hammond Northshore Regional Airport. Those of you that have been working on this project for many years know that this did not come easily. But with all things, we have discovered that working together, we can make things happen. As you look around, you will see the results of partnerships to progress. And today we are going to hear from some very special people who were partners and who were instrumental in this venture that will last a lifetime. The next item on the agenda is recognition of special guests and elected officials. Now, rather than me trying to pick out all of the elected officials, I would ask you at this time, if you would, to either stand or just wave. And if you, Daniel, that's you, everybody. Councilman, please stand. Thank you, councilman, representatives, senators. Mr. President, thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Assessor. Did I miss anybody that I'm pointing out? And I'm sure that I was going to miss somebody, so I thought it was easier if I do it that way. I do want to recognize some people that are here and some people that are not here. From Spartan Construction, we have Brandon Donahue, and Terry Donahue. They're in the back. They are going to be responsible for the building of this tower. Let me tell you also that where we're sitting right now is where the tower is going to be. When you walked up, you may have noticed the stakes. Well, it's within those stakes that you will see the Hammond Northshore Regional Airport Air Control Tower. So you are here where it is going to be. So with that, I say welcome, welcome, welcome. I would like to call on some people now also, some partners of ours that are going to be giving a few remarks. The first person that I would like to call on is the chairman of the Hammond Airport Authority. Mark Rowling is an attorney here in Hammond. He has been on the airport board. We were talking about it this morning for between 11 and 15 years, something like that. He is an instrument-rated pilot who learned to fly at Hammond Airport. He's a graduate of Southeastern and LSU Law School and had been practicing in the City of Hammond for over 30 years. Mark Rowling.
Thank you very much, Mayson. I would, on behalf of the Hammond Airport Authority, I would like to thank everybody who's come out here today. The Airport Authority consists of a few members. I see Olaf Ross out there, Ken Ross, Sonny Yoakum, and Reggie Russell. And we have been so pleased to see how things have progressed with the tower. It undoubtedly will be a historic day for us today. We're here because of the efforts of a lot of people, and I'm sure most of the people here that brought about this project. There's no doubt that all of these people were instrumental and brought this project to fruition. But make no mistake about it, the main reason we're here and the reasons why we're getting ready to have shovels in hand is because of our mayor, Mayson Foster. Now, I'd like to give him a little applause. Mayson can't say that because he's the master of ceremony, but I can, and I know it to be true. It's been quite refreshing to serve on a board with a mayor that has been as engaged and involved in the processes of the airport as Mayson has been. And I've been here a long time. Sonny's been here through many administrations, probably more than he cares to count. But I think never has a mayor been so involved in helping this airport to progress to the extent that it has. I'd also like to recognize Jason, who I think most of you know, Jason Ball, who has been an integral part of this whole process. He's brought a lot of energy to the table, and he's allowed to he's helped us push this project forward together with his capable and loyal assistant, Mary Ann Black. I know Mary Ann must be around here somewhere. The only other thing I'd like to mention, and it's a little bit of a sad note, is that the only sad thing about today is that our very dear friend and prior Airport Authority member, Rico Mazzaracchi, did not live long enough to come here and enjoy this process today. There's nobody I know that had more of a passion for this airport than Rico did. And if there's anything sad can be said about this very special occasion, that would have to be it. So all the people that have been around this airport and been involved in it know that that is a true statement, and nobody would be happier today than Rico would. So he'll be sadly missed, but I know that he'll be smiling somewhere today. So thank you.
Thank you, Mark. I have to tell my Rico Mazzaracchi story if I could. Is that okay, Rick, wherever you are? When I first became mayor in 2003, I came out to the airport and we were sitting right over at the terminal building, and Mr. Rico, as he usually was sitting out on the bench looking around, and I walked up and I said, "Mr. Rico, how you doing?" He said, I'm doing good, I'm doing good. And we looked around a while and I said, "Mr. Rico, what do you see?" And he said, if y'all know Mr. Rico, "I don't see nothing." I said, "Exactly. There are no airplanes here. This is an airport. We have got to take this facility and build it." And from that day forward, Rico Mazzaracchi, as he was before, was absolutely dedicated to the Hammond Northshore Regional Airport. Our next speaker is Brandt. Brad is a graduate of Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University with a degree in aviation management and is currently working towards a master's degree in aeronautical science. He began his aviation career in airport operations at the Denver International Airport in 1998. He relocated to Louisiana with the W.D. Shock Company, where he worked as one of the program managers in the noise mitigation program for the Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport. He joined the DOTD Aviation section in 2001 and currently is the Aviation Director for the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development. Brandt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good afternoon, everyone. I have to start off by saying I was a little worried on my way into work this morning, and all the dark clouds I was driving through on my way into downtown Baton Rouge, and I almost called Jason to make sure that he had a backup plan. But I knew that, with the leadership that's been out here over the last few years, with Mayor Foster and with Jason Ball, I knew they would. But I'm very happy to see that the day turned out very well, and it exactly is a great day for the City of Hammond and the Hammond Northshore Regional Airport. It's with great honor that I come to give a few words on the air traffic control tower today, and on the project that we've worked with the City of Hammond and the Hammond Northshore Regional Airport on over the past few years. There is a saying in our industry, if you've seen one airport, you've seen one airport. And that is true really of the Hammond Northshore Regional Airport. It is a very unique facility in the state of Louisiana and a very successful facility in the state of Louisiana. I've been with the department for 13 years coming up next July, and I have really seen this facility grow from where it was prior to Mayor Foster coming in as mayor a few years ago, and to where this airport is today, and of course where it's going to be over the next 5 to 10 years. Over the last decade also, the Federal Aviation Administration and the Department of Transportation has invested a lot of money into this facility, and specifically for safety and infrastructure improvements. The progress and improvements are a credit to the leadership not only of Mayor Foster but also of Jason and the chairman of the Airport Authority and the City of Hammond. Along with this leadership, however, is the support of the local community. Once again, your community has rallied and come together to support these infrastructure and much needed safety improvements for your airport and also for general aviation in the state of Louisiana. It is this airport that facilitates the successful partnership between the local, state, and federal governments to collaborate and complete these types of projects for the advancement and benefit of the airport and for the local communities. This has been vital in positioning the Hammond Northshore Regional Airport to become an economic driver not only for the parish and for the city, but also for the southeast region of the state of Louisiana. The economic contributions of airports benefit our local and state economies by enhancing the profitability and competitive strength of the businesses and industries that utilize them. Today we celebrate the groundbreaking on the $1.9 million air traffic control facility here at the airport. We also celebrate the operational safety enhancements and the economic benefit that this air traffic control tower represents to the airport and also to the city. In a recent economic impact analysis conducted by a consultant through our airport system plan, airports in our state contribute over $6.7 billion in economic impact to the state of Louisiana's economy. In comparison, the overall aviation system in the state, our general aviation airports, have an economic impact to the state's economy by contributing over 9,300 jobs, as well as a payroll of $296 million. The total impact of general aviation airports to our state is well over $966 million. In closing, I would like to say the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development congratulates the City of Hammond, the Hammond Airport Authority, and Jason Ball on your accomplishments at the airport, and you continue to be respected and revered as true friends of aviation in Louisiana. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't do this at some point in time. And that is that we are so proud of our Southeastern Louisiana University Lions for winning the Southland Conference. We need at some point in this program to talk about them. And for those of us who knew of the Lions, what do we say? Lion up. Now, General and Senator Brad, that might not mean much to you, but for those of us that have been here at Southeastern all our lives, that means a lot. You talk about somebody that's been dedicated all their life, that's Major General Glen H. Curtis, the Adjutant General for the Louisiana National Guard. General Curtis is responsible for the deployment and coordination of programs, policies, and plans affecting more than 11,500 members of the Louisiana Air National Guard and the Louisiana Army National Guard. General Curtis was graduated from Buckeye High School. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Agriculture Business from LSU. I'll hold that against you. And a master's degree in Strategic Studies from the United States Army War College. General Curtis enlisted in the Louisiana National Guard in March 1982. He attended the Louisiana National Guard Officer Candidate School and was commissioned a second lieutenant in August 1984. Now, that's sort of his background, and I could go on, and just as I would with the senator, I could read a lot of his bio, but let me tell you that working with General Curtis in the National Guard has been a tremendous experience. Everything from flying to Fort Worth and coming back in an airplane that had the fire department lined up wondering, Mr. Browning, whether or not we were going to make it, all the way to meeting with the governor and the governor's staff. And General Curtis has been there right with us time and time and time again. Now, this is a true partnership because the National Guard is actually going to be manning the tower. They're going to be operating the tower. And we, in essence, will be reporting to the National Guard on this. We'll be picking up the tab for the operations, and they're doing the rest. So, General Curtis, I say to you and all of the men and the women and National Guard, thank you so much for your service, and thank you for what you're doing for the City of Hammond. General Glen Curtis.
All right, Senator Landrieu, all the other elected officials, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed my pleasure to be here today. I know the mayor is extremely happy that we're building this tower, but next to him, I'm probably the most excited because we have been working on this for quite some time. You know, in the aftermath of Katrina, our facilities on the north, out at Lakefront in New Orleans were destroyed. And so we needed a place to reset our aviation assets. From there, we moved up to Hammond, and I tell you, this entire region just rolled out the red carpet for us and welcomed us with open arms. And if you look over my shoulder, those great facilities you see on the other side of the runway are the Louisiana National Guard facilities and our aviation unit that sits here today. When we went to Congress and talked to them about what we wanted to build here, what we proposed to them, and we had great congressional support led by our senator here, but what we talked to them about was the fact that we needed to build a bigger facility than just to house one battalion's worth of assets. What we needed was to be able to build a facility that could house a brigade, a combat aviation brigade, worth of assets. So that if we got into another Katrina type environment where we had hundreds of helicopters here in the state doing search and rescue down in the New Orleans area, that we would have an appropriate place to stage at and to launch from. And so Congress and the Army and the National Guard Bureau gave us the funding to build an asset like that. We can house or stage about 100 helicopters there along with fixed wing aircraft. And so what it gives us here in South Louisiana, but it's also a Gulf Coast capability, is to bring in very quickly aviation assets that we can stage here and launch from to go save Americans if and when we get into another catastrophic event. So I can't tell you how important this tower is to us to be able to control that airspace just on a day-to-day basis from a safety standpoint. But if we get into another catastrophic event in this nation, the ability to control airspace and to stage here and launch from here is a tremendous capability that we provide to this nation. And so to the senator and to the rest of the congressional delegation helped us do that, and to Mayor Foster for staying the course with us, we're just super excited. And as he mentioned, we will be manning the tower and operating it. We currently do it in Alexandria. We've done it up there at the Alexandria Airport now for probably 12 to 15 years, and it is a great partnership. It gives us great training, but it also provides a great asset to the local community. So with that, we love the partnership. We're excited to be here, and we plan to be here for quite a long time. The last thing I want to mention to you that everybody always loses sight of, they mentioned the fact that we've got 11,500 guardsmen. Today, as we stand here, we've got about 1,100 of them that are deployed primarily to Afghanistan, that are fighting our nation's war and defending our freedoms so that we can assemble in a place like this and do these type of events. So I ask you to keep them in your thoughts and prayers and their families. With that, God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. There are a few people that I do want to recognize that may or may not have done so. I would like to recognize Jay Ardilla, is Air Traffic Manager of the New Orleans Air Traffic Control Tower in New Orleans. He's in the back. So Jay, welcome. Welcome to Hammond. Also, a very special guest, the State Fire Marshal, Butch Browning. Butch, thank you so much for being here. And in the back somewhere is Justin Crossy, representing Congressman Steve Scalise. Justin. She winked at me.
He winked first.
Mary Landrieu has been fighting and winning for Louisiana since she was first elected to the Louisiana State Legislature at the age of 23. After serving 8 years as state representative and 2 terms as state treasurer, in 1996 she became the first woman from Louisiana selected to a full term in the U.S. Senate. Senator Landrieu is currently the chair of the Senate Small Business Committee, chair of the Appropriations Subcommittee on Homeland Security, and a member of the Energy and National Resources and Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committees. The nonpartisan Congress organization has ranked Senator Landrieu as the 10th most effective legislator in the Senate. Now, I can tell you firsthand that I saw the senator in action after Hurricanes Katrina and Rita, and she visited here. In the aftermath of the Deepwater Horizon disaster, Senator Landrieu introduced the Restore to the Gulf Coast Act, which is a bipartisan regional approach to address the immense economic and environmental damage to America's working coast. As chair of the Small Business Committee, she is leading efforts to ensure all small businesses have access to capital and contracts, superior health insurance at a low cost, and the resources needed to help boost our economy and guarantee America's competitive in the global marketplace. Now, let me step away from that and say that every time I have called Senator Landrieu, she has been there to help us. Starting back when we were having an issue with the Wetlands Assimilation Project, she was very instrumental in helping us get funding for that project. I remember in one trip, the senator came down and she said, "I want to go see what we have created." So she had on a white dress, and I was really concerned about when we went out to the Wetlands Assimilation Project, what it was going to be like, but it was in really great shape. Right after that, I brought her over here to the airport, and we met with the National Guard. We met with Patrick Becerra, who was, believe at the time, was a major. He's now colonel. And it was at that time that we started talking about the partnerships between the City of Hammond, U.S. Congress, and the National Guard. And what we're here today for is to dedicate what those initial talks were all about. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to present to you Senator Mary Landrieu.
Well, thank you, Mayson, so much. And this is really a dream come true and a vision that was shared by your mayor, by General Curtis, myself, and many other of the elected officials that are here and private citizens that dreamed about this day. So I'm glad to be here to help us do the groundbreaking. So when we come back, we're actually going to be able to see this tower. It'll take a little while to build, but we can almost see it today as we sit here in anticipation of it. And I want to begin by thanking the mayor particularly for his really extraordinary vision for this project. He kept telling me once we got the National Guard here, and it took a little bit of a lift, and I want to thank you, General Curtis, for this. There were many big, important decisions made after Katrina and Rita, and some of them, most of them were made well. Few of them we could have made better. This was a great one. It was a difficult one because it's hard to move assets from one part of the state to another. People losing it aren't happy about it. People getting it may not be ready to get it. This was a very good decision that our delegation helped to make, and I helped to lead, to bring the National Guard here to Hammond, which of course is a much safer place physically for all the storms that come against our coast. And as General Curtis said, very well located to help Mississippi as well, because we work as a team along the Gulf Coast. This isn't just about Louisiana. So when we got these assets moved over here and we started talking about the need for a tower, and then the mayor was very quick to grasp the significance of having a tower for the benefit of economic development. And I will say a few more words about that in a minute. But I should have known what I was getting myself into, because the first call he made, he said, "I'm taking you out," as he said, to an assimilation project for the Corps of Engineers. Now that is a nice way of saying that this project is taking sewage and replenishing our wetlands, building our cypress trees at less cost to the federal government. And so he calls me and says, "I'm a Republican, you're a Democrat, we can work together to save the federal government money." I said, yes. So he says, "But you've got to come with me to see this project." Now I said I would go, but he says, "You've got to come see it." Now he didn't tell me to wear boots, he should have, but he didn't. So I show up, in my heels as usual. Now, the press cannot write this because literally he had me wading into a 4-letter word, all right? And I'm looking at him saying, do I really like this mayor this much to be doing this? But lo and behold, not only did he and I save the federal government, I think about $2 million, because the Corps wanted to over-engineer this project and have no benefit. Like I said, no additional benefit other than the cleaning of the sewage, but it also helped build the wetlands. And you've never seen two more people. If the press would have been there to take a picture of this, we would have been on some laughingstock show, because not only we were up to our ankles and you know what, but we kept looking at these little cypress trees, how fast they were growing. And I kept saying, Mayson, we have discovered how to save the federal government money, get rid of our sewage, and rebuild the cypress forest around Tangipahoa Parish. So would you give him a round of applause? I could go on and on about this mayor, and we joke about it because when I go around the state, since I represent about 350 cities, and the legislators know this as well because they represent many, I really can't say what my favorite city is. But I do have a few of my favorites, but I do have my favorite mayor, and it is not my brother, I want you to know. It is Mayson Foster. And people say, well, we know who that is. That's your brother. I said, no, you would be wrong. That would be Mayson Foster from Hammond, because he and I have been working on several projects together that, you know, when he says we're going to do it, I said, Mayson, it's going to take, you know, a village. We're going to have to get everybody on the same page. But you know what? We do. And this project, and the legislators that are here, I want to thank them, because this would not have happened without the legislators stepping up and doing their part. But when General Curtis offered these assets, and the mayor had this vision, and they came to me and they said, we've got to build a tower. That sounds like an easy thing, because I've built several of them. The problem was, we were doing this in the middle of a recession where there was no extra money. And then we had to fight through sequester, which is like an alligator grip. I mean, you just can't get out of it. I mean, there's no extra money. So I told the mayor, I said, we're going to build it, but this is going to be one of the toughest, hardest fights, because we're flying against the current. I mean, we're moving against the current, and just to hold our own assets at a time like this. But he wouldn't give up. I didn't give up. I want to thank my state director, who at my request flew to Texas. I don't send my staff off many places. But this project was important enough that T. Bradley flew with the mayor and went to the director and said, you have no idea how important this tower is and how cost effective it's going to be because of the partnership that we have. So the federal government put up $800,000 at a time when no one was getting additional money. And I want you to give these two a round of applause. General Curtis, Mayor Foster. The legislators then stepped up with about $700,000, I think John Bell and the legislators, and got the state to put up some money. General Curtis, who could negotiate his way through anything. He's not a lawyer, but if you need one, go get him, all right? Because he'll just make stuff up, all right? He'll just make it up. He'll go up to Washington. Will he, John Bell? Am I telling the truth? He will go make it up. So he goes up there and he's telling everybody, this is what we're going to do. And then honestly, though, in all truth, this is going to be not only a tremendous asset for the safety of our soldiers, and we owe them everything to keep them safe. They don't always have the privilege of flying in when the sun's shining or in the early morning hours when it's easy to see. They have to fly in all kinds of weather, and we need to do our best to keep them safe. That's number one. This tower will keep them safe, and their families will be happy when we do that. It'll keep our private pilots, who also need to be safe, when they come in to do work. I fly all the time, and I know how dangerous it can be. And you don't want to come into an airport in bad weather with the lights off. I can handle my schedule pretty well, but people that work for companies sometimes can't, and the general knows that sometimes his men and women have to fly in very difficult times. So that was first on my mind. Secondly, I'm not unmindful about how important Tangipahoa Parish is. It's one of our faster growing parishes, tremendous economic development opportunities. So to have a tower here that can help recruit businesses who have the Baton Rouge Airport for their big commercial flights, their New Orleans Airport for their big commercial flights, but there are a lot of corporate flights that are coming in that need to land, get in and out, checking on their projects, etc. The legislators know this, and that's why they stepped up. The council as well that backed the mayor for this project, because they know about the economic development. And finally, and equally important as all of these, and I apologize for my voice, I know it's painful to have to listen to me under normal circumstances and then under these, but For disaster recovery, for those of us that were at ground zero for Katrina, Rita, Gustav, and Ike, and Isaac, you know, all you prayed for was hard ground and sun and clear skies so that you could rescue people. And we had water over our heads and marsh up to our hips. So this base, to be able to have really high ground to launch safety from during storms, is going to be a tremendous asset to this whole region. And one of my great goals as your senator is to help all of us to build smarter, build higher, build more safely so that we can withstand the storms that are going to come at us in the future. We do that every day, building new and better homes, new and better businesses, and new and better federal infrastructure. So I want to just conclude by saying this has been an extraordinary partnership. The federal government has stepped up mostly when it was needed. The state did its part. The National Guard has led, but the vision on the ground by a strong mayor with the support of his council is going to make a big difference for all of us for many decades to come. So I thank the airport board. We can't build this tower fast enough, and I'm going to continue to support you. But as long as I don't have to walk through you know what, the next time I come, I will be back many times. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. And now what we've all been waiting for is the official groundbreaking ceremony. Now, look at the number of people that we have here. I appreciate the fact that everybody has come out. So what we're going to do is we're going to break this into two separate groundbreakings, if we could. First, 1, 2, 3, go. Hey!
Got it? Okay. One more time. 1, 2, 3.